Welcome to another Warno cast. This time on Black Forest. We have definitely not Mjblair in blue on the left side. He's playing first Canadian. And on the right side we have Autisme in red playing the Spanish Acorazada. Two NATO divisions. And both divisions are pretty light on their tanks. The Spanish have light tanks like the AMX. They have a few infantry units, but not much, and not many helicopters. While on the other side, on the blue side, the 1st Canadian, they have even lighter tanks, with like the Leopard C1, which costs, I think, 110 points. But they have a lot more infantry. And something we might have to look out for is that the 1st Canadian don't have as much artillery. So maybe on this map, if it gets into a defensive battle, that might play a bit of a role, and the Spanish can bring out their artillery and play a bit with that. If we look at the deployment, we have a little bit down here. Let's see, a lot of scouts. The north is completely ignored by Mjblair, so Charlie will not have any units from blue. He has quite a few scouts going into Alpha with some infantry as support. Infantry is going forward, while the scouts are more towards the back and middle. The scouts in the center are taking defensive positions in the houses over here. We also have the house on Foxtrot getting taken. And this little forest piece over here, that can be quite nice to see and support. And we have a bit of support with a tow cobra, a tour, ATGM vehicle, the ADATs, that can be quite helpful. And one CV who is going to directly towards Foxtrot. I assume the passing will bring him through Echo. But I'm actually not sure if he will go south to Foxtrot and miss Echo. I assume Mjblair would know if he needs to make a waypoint through Echo first. So something to look forward to pay attention to in the first minutes, but I don't think that will be the deciding factor. On the other side, in red with Autisme, with the Spanish, he takes defensive positions with the scouts on the back of Foxtrot. He will take defensive positions over here in the north of Bravo. He will send at least a scout toward the middle. One scout is going to the back to secure that. I'm not sure if that's worth it, to send a scout immediately into the north. Of course there can be sneaks, but I would assume those sneaks will happen later. And that's 65 points you don't have somewhere else in the battlefield. You have a lot more units with helicopters, CV tank, MX-30, MG unit, and a ATGM going all up in the north, so there's a lot more focus from the Spanish division toward the north side. While he wants to have Bravo and just be defensive for the rest of the battlefield. So what am I expecting, since both are pretty light with their tanks? I think they will be aggressive. Red will take Delta, Bravo and Charlie, while Blue will take the other three zones. And then we'll have a bit of back and forth until one player gets a decisive blow and can take an advantage on one side of the battlefield. So let's take a look at what will happen. Something to point out is that we have some reservist units. There is no MP on the battlefield with them, so they will take a lot more cohesion damage. We have a drone coming in for scouting, and an A-plane to deal with any helicopters or planes from the other side. We have 2 helicopters, so maybe that will be where the first AA plane will go to. The drone will start to see something now. And the AA plane is coming behind to protect the drone and take out any helicopters the drone can find. No battle yet. The CV is taking the south road. So my worries were justified. Maybe passing through Echo would have been better. Drone gets shut down. AA plane comes in. It's a 260 point AA plane. And they kill each other. Ah. I think the CF-188 was cheaper. I think it's 150 points, I'm not absolutely sure. But that's like 100, 110 points in the advantage of blue. Tokoba is probably finding a first kill with recon. It gets out of transport, I was about to say. While it's still in transport, that's nasty. But the transport survives the first attack and is managing to get out. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, no, there's a rocket. No, can't get the kill. So far, not really any skirmishes. The 2 HR-15 helicopters make it towards the town. Must start to attack here. There is no AA in the north, now that I look at it. A Javelin is making its way in now, but the adults went south. The Cougar we see is having a bit of a battle down here. But I think it's a losing battle. Oh no, never mind. I didn't realize it has such a big gun. The 10-pen gun for 55 points, that's quite effective, especially against the early transports. Helicopter in the north is destroyed. There are also a lot of M11 or 113A1 going down. Helicopter destroyed. HE plane is making its way in. Gets a helicopter and does a drop on the... It drops on the AMX AA but doesn't get the kill. So the AA gets a shot back. Doesn't get the kill though. Tokobra is out of ammo for the air-to-ground rockets. Still has the anti-tank missiles. There's no supply coming in yet, but a lot more... one more airplane. I was about to say he invests a lot in air, but it's one more plane now. Once again doesn't get the kill. A bit unfortunate. Plane is still alive and can continue. Maybe he tries to go for the AA. Doesn't get the kill, while his mag rifles, motorized rifles, are being destroyed. Some more losses of blue at the moment. The scout in the north made his way all the way up here, so he can fire at the road for the supply and reinforcement forces. Leopard C1's getting in. More helicopters for red. A lot of anti-air. 2 Espide and 1... oh god. Well, Likon? I definitely pronounced that wrong. But yeah, there's a lot more AA from red. Which makes sense with the amount of planes blue has brought in. But red also has a bunch of helicopters. So definitely blue has to make sure that his AA network also works out. The MX leader by itself tries to sneak in, but gets under fire from the Cougar we see. From both of them. And is destroyed. So that's a sneak that didn't work out. The Iltis CP is making its way back to Echo to get the capture and stop the tick. So far 260 points and more for red, but it's about to stop. Black Forest is a map where there isn't a very high point count for the zones, so elite is harder to get back. It takes longer time, so you can't wait as long to take zones and get back the points that you lost, or rather catch up with the opponent. Leopard C1s going forward without a scout or any meat sheet in front of them. Like there's this one GSR scout, but still it's a bit dangerous. Like an infantry unit in these forests, and they could get destroyed pretty quickly. They only have 9 armor frontally. You might try to go for the AA AMX. Eddard's behind to protect them at least from planes and helicopters. Cluster plane is coming in. So a lot of airplay from Mjblair. Gets a kill. Doesn't get hit. And doesn't get hit again. So good bombing run there. I have the feeling that the kill-death ratio is in favor of Mjblair at the moment. Well, they lost quite a few units in the start, so maybe it's a bit more even. But point-wise, it seems... I'm not so sure now that I look at the entire battlefield. There are a lot of red units, but maybe they're cheaper. So that might be deceiving. And a lot of points here in the north, once again not being used. So maybe the transport and the scouting transport could go forward, could check over here and get a bit more vision instead of just staying around. But it's obviously always easy to say as a caster when you see everything and you don't have to pay attention to the other parts of the battlefield and control units and send new units and everything. But units that just stand around and do nothing aren't worth as much as those actually fighting, obviously. So that's something that Autisme could look to do. I'm not sure I remember in my last cast I was also talking about units in the north not taking any actions and just being a lot of points that are wasted by standing around, basically. But I think it was the opponent and not Autisme in that case. There's one MX going down to the Leopards. They do not get the return kill, so now the AMX is in a bit of trouble. Has to smoke off. So at least the second AMX will survive. There is no supplies for red anywhere. I was checking if there was a supply somewhere, but no. At no location is a supply truck. And there's also no supplies for blue. So, I mean, blue invests. Oh, the plane goes down. HE bomber. But the MX that is still not killed, even though it took a lot of damage early. So some more mech rifles, Ito, Cobra and Minitat. I wonder if these... Yeah, they notice the scout up here in the north and will take care of that. That's the Ito. I'm not sure where that is supposed to go. Like, it probably won't stay here forever, so it's usually... But it's probably going somewhere else. AT plane. Cobra got destroyed in the north, so the scout was protected by the plane. AT plane goes in for the ADATs. The other one is out of ammo. AT plane of Mjblair getting hit by the AA plane of Autisme. The helicopter scout was also destroyed, but the scout that was annoying Mjblair in the north was killed off in that battle in the north. ADAT's coming in, and we saw that a new scout will come in from Autisme in the north. A little bit of skirmish continues in the north. There's a push in the center with the new mag rifles that were brought in. There still isn't that much anti-air supporting the forces. The ADATS is coming in, but just one javelin over here. The ADATS over here has no ammo. One more javelin down here. Still no supplies to repair and refuel and re-ammo. But at the same time we have an infantry push in the north. Or not up in the complete north, but in the north of Alpha. Leopards got destroyed. Cluster plane got down. The blue cluster plane. So now there's a bit of loss of control in this area below Bravo. Mag rifles are still moving forward, but there is one MG unit, but without any support I believe that won't be able to do much. HE bomber got one of the infantry units, but well, it got hit, but not destroyed. AT plane of red getting out alive as well. Infantry units in the city. We'll probably be able to kill the scout if the scout doesn't retreat soon. This is an important scout with the GSR. Leopard trying to help out, but the scouts go down. A supply truck was destroyed, probably while trying to get towards the city. And now Autisme has control with his units over Foxtrot. The zone isn't captured yet, but that will probably bring him enough control to capture the zone pretty soon. There are more reinforcements going to the center. But I assume there will be a few units coming to Foxtrot to secure the area, and then a CV pretty soon as well. Finally, a bit of supplies. I'm personally someone who wants his units to be at max health as much as possible, so even such a slightly damaged tank I would be sending a support unit, a supply truck over here and repair it as soon as possible. Yeah, just a personal take, I guess. AA plane might get the helicopter if it drives forward, but I don't think that would be worth it while there's still AA from red. MG was actually able to push back the mag rifles in the city. The CF-188 comes in to destroy the AT plane of red, so that's quite a nice catch. CV is going in while the zone isn't under full control. So maybe he will be able to get a capture while being out of vision, but that CV is in a dangerous place at the moment. With a tank from south and 3 MG units now, being in a very defensive position. Like having a strong line against any infantry unit. And the AMX is now trying to find the CV. It won't get the CV before the capture, so now we have a tick for Mjblair. But I doubt that it will be for long enough to take the point lead or even catch up. The CV from red is already on the way. Is it going south or no? It's going first to the center, and probably from there it will go to Foxtrot in the south. HE bomber coming in. While the infantry unit is destroyed in the center, the HE bomber gets the infantry unit of red in the city, and the plane makes it out alive. More mag rifles, and one reservist unit with armored transport. Heavy machine gun. So that can help out. We have the first artillery unit an M109 A1. No artillery yet on the right side, which at the start I assumed there would be more artillery from red. And blue is focusing more on planes. But blue is the first one to bring out the artillery to take care of the fortified position in the north, in the center. And if the sector gets in now, it was potentially a nasty hit, but it doesn't hit anything. So many units and not a single one got damaged. A bit of unlucky. A bit of cohesion damage, but that's all. Well, it's unfortunate. Foxtrot still not taken. AT plane gets a scout. Scout in the north is being annoying again. For 65 points, and it with a tank gun to protect itself from vehicles like this one that has just one armor. That's pretty effective to be annoying. AT plane will take care of it probably? Yeah. So not much going on with there, but it's still annoying. Mjblair has to constantly take care of the north, of these small scouts. It can distract from more important matters. And we have a C-50A getting destroyed. But at the same time, the planes of Mjblair will make it out alive. While there aren't that many forces of blue on the ground, compared to the red side, the amount of planes and how many kills they get do matter quite a bit. So I'm expecting that he will continue quite a lot with his airplay. But we have the reaction from Autisme, 2 more AMX-30 anti-air vehicles. There's RE and... oh, both RE. Okay, I was wondering if they're the same type. 1 more kill for the HE bomber. The scout plane is getting destroyed. Got destroyed. Now we have the CV finally in Foxtrot. 1 sneaky CV scout down here. So he will get a lot of vision and maybe pick up a unit if they move through the nearby road. A small push in the center. But the MX leader gives some firing support for the infantry units. So even with the Leopard C1 in the back, it seems like the advantage is still with the red side. If the AT plane can get the leader... oh, that's nasty. That's very good. That's good. But the plane doesn't make it out alive, so... not so good anymore. At the moment, red has a tick in points with a +2. And here, still a leader down here in the south. The scout I mentioned earlier will only kill the transport. It is stronger than the GSR infantry scout, but it will probably get the kill. That's annoying. Well, these scouts are very effective. So that's... oh, and the AT plane will come in for the leader. And it destroys the leader. Oh, that's also... that's quite significant. Because now blue will have a problem taking Foxtrot. And with the tick being for red at the moment, that's quite an important matter right now, that blue has to take the zone as quickly as possible. Artillery is aiming at the AA. Which could be one way to win this map. For blue at the moment, he has the air superiority. So by taking out the AE units one by one, he could maybe fortify that advantage and then just pick off units piece by piece. The idiots low on ammo, Javelin completely out of ammo, transport just sitting around over here, so he could probably sell those, unless they are for push, which is possible, and he wants to put his infantry units in the transport later to push. Max Scout and Foxtrot now. AA plane coming in with an HE bomber behind. AT plane down here, so we now have quite a few planes of blue on the battlefield. AA plane gets the kill. The AT plane has to retreat, but the CF-188 does make its way inside and gets one kill, but has to go out. Now the C-15 has to take the battle. It takes out the HE bomber, but it will now get chased down, probably killed, and it's down. But yeah, too much AA now in the center for red, so blue won't be able to dive into this area anytime soon, as long or until he takes care of these AA pieces. So the artillery is trying to do that just now, but it's not very precise. It does have a salvo range of 4 and a rate of fire of 3, but precision not that good apparently, or just unlucky. MX leader down here, which have a fight with a Leopard. It has 70 pen against 60 pen, both 9 armor. Now we have a bit of artillery. The tanks kill each other, while an artillery rocket launcher gets a bit of damage in here in the center against the Leopard. But I think it got maybe one kill, I'm not sure what. Oh no, that was a Leopard that battled with the MX leader, so the artillery got no kills. The Queen Mary CV is on his way to Foxtrot. I'm not sure if he will be able to capture the zone with an infantry unit. But it has no anti-tank weapon. Good artillery. Almost out of ammo now. So the point tick is stopped now by blue. He will take control over the south. But he still has to make up 500 points in 70 minutes. Artillery almost out of ammo, so the supply truck might want to go over there and repair this Leopard as well. A lot of reservist infantry units now coming in towards the center. So that will be his force to push through in the center, and then with a CV probably from down here takes the zone into the center for the point. But it doesn't look very good. Maybe with some more tanks he could push through in the north, in the center. I'm not sure why I'm calling this the north again and again. But since it's mostly defended by these 3 MG units, it might be better to have a bit of heavy support, tank support. I know that the blue side doesn't have a lot of heavy tank, or the tanks aren't very heavy, let's say it that way. But even though he lost quite a few already, I believe he still has quite a few. I have good numbers in the cards. 2 more coming in. I'm not sure about the injured tank moving forward. The ATGM is firing at it, but loses sight of vision. AA plane going down. Do we have enough AA against the helicopters? Yeah, 1 javelin. The other 2 are out of ammo, but the supply truck is coming in. So the ADATs should probably move towards the supply truck to get supplied as well. 1 helicopter makes it out alive. Might get annoying later. While meanwhile, Autisme pushing in the south. The Fusiliers M65. Trying to get hold of this house. From which I assume they can shoot at the road over here. So that can be quite annoying, especially if Mjblair doesn't notice that. Cluster plane coming in from the MX-30s, but doesn't drop the bombs. Doesn't drop. Oh, that looked very promising. I thought he might be able to kill both MX-30s over there. Javelin a bit too far forward by itself. So now Autisme will be able to take this house. Cluster plane, second try. No. Might not have vision on the tanks anymore. There's no scout for blue in this house. Not many units to begin with. Artillery is resupplied. Currently not aiming at anything. New supplies go over here. Eddard's still out of ammo. And now the rockets start flying towards the corner. It's possible that he was already aiming at that corner. Had the unit on hold fire command so that the moment CV comes in he can start firing. Or any units. But the CV gets though, so at least a slight victory for Mjblair in blue. CV goes down. AT plane tries to find a pick, but more units from blue going down right now than red units. Plane makes it out alive, so small victory in that regard. But tanks coming in the south now, forward. They can cause quite a bit of havoc in the back line. I could try to go towards Echo, but now with the helicopters coming in, that's not going to work out. The drone will spot probably for that, for the helicopters, so that they can take care of these units now, due to the lack of anti-air on the ground. The AT plane gets added. Damage the Cobra. Maybe the infantry can now take care of the tow Cobra because it's damaged so heavily. Tow Cobra and HE bomb. The HE bomber goes from the infantry unit. Tow Cobra tries to get the AMX-30. But yeah, it gets one kill. But it's a bit of a dangerous location at the moment. Second AMX-30 also goes down, so the tow Cobras pretty much fulfilled their purpose. Would be nice to get them out alive so that they can be repaired and refueled. So that's right. So thanks to these two helicopters, Mjblair now has a lot more control in the south due to the lack of AA on the red side, which is something Chloride likes to advocate for in his cast, that he says tanks shouldn't move forward without AA behind them. So that exactly these kinds of scenarios where two helicopters that are quickly brought in to take care of such a problem can get it for basically free. Now they took a lot of damage, but still that's not something that should happen this easily. S-Byte, now refueled, rearmed. Getting the hit, getting one tow Cobra down. Artillery trying to clear these buildings. So at the moment we have the tick for blue, for Mjblair. It's at 400 points against the 660 of its opponent, Autisme. Rocket artillery catching these mag rifles. That's a bit nasty. Will probably die before they can take care of these infantry units from the Spanish division. HE bomber coming in. I hope not for the infantry. Wouldn't be worse, but we have such a concave of AAA units in the center now. We have 5 AA pieces in a half circle. One is out of ammo, but still That's a nasty place to go with any air unit. Second tow cobras going. I think the 2 tow cobras were now wasted quite a bit. Just running into an A fire that he knew is there. That Aspide has fired quite a bit, so it's not something that should be a surprise. And get killed so easily. Voodoo ECM plane gets down. I'm not sure why it was even there at this point. Because, yes, it can take some rockets, it can provide a buff to other air units, but there were no other air units following behind to make use of that buff, and that the Voodoo plane is getting the fire. That the rockets are flying towards this plane that has more ACM and more chance to get missed by the rockets. So that it feels like maybe mistimed, maybe it was supposed to be a plane that was before. Oh, 3 A pieces going down now. But to finish my thought, maybe there was a plane before and the Voodoo was supposed to support it. Or maybe the helicopters. But it was too late, so it looked a bit silly. ADAT's getting down by the artillery. There are 2 Terrure, maybe it's pronounced that way, the rocket artillery of the Spanish. And we have one M110 A2 artillery piece as well now. So artillery wise, on the blue side with 2 M109 A1s, the advantage should be now on the red side if you just look at the artillery. MX-30 is probably going to fire at those Leopards and make a bad day for them. Will they be able to fire before that at some point? Yeah, one transport getting killed. Well, that's a bit annoying. But at least 2 Leopards are getting killed by the AMX-30. I think that's a more valuable loss on the blue side. MX-30 gets damaged in the process, but I'm not sure if that matters, especially if it now goes into the zone. Which will bring back the point take 2 red, but if blue can take the center, which I'm seeing happening right now, then it will just be a draw in the point take. For the time being we have a little bit of take for blue. Cluster plane. Oh, can that see the leader? No. There's such a lack of units from blue in the south now. He can't see, he can't defend it. He doesn't know how much there is from red. It's a bit of a shame. The Iltis CP goes down. So together with the already bigger point lead by Autisme in red, with now the CV being destroyed in the center and the CV of red getting into Foxtrot, it's a clear lead on the red side. A lot of infantry units coming in now in the center. I doubt the ATGM will be able to destroy them before they unload because of the line of vision getting disrupted by the buildings. We'll get a lot of cohesion damage onto them with the explosion. AT plane. Rocket artillery firing again. So what used to be a very effective AA network is now down to 2 AA pieces that are out of ammo. So all of a sudden the motorized rifle charge is actually quite effective. They will get fired from the MX-30 outside of the zone, but it's still a currently secured zone for blue. Secured in the sense of his units are inside of the zone, but obviously the zone is still in control of red CV wise, but the MX-30 CV leader goes down. So now we only have the one in the south. which means if blue is able to capture the center, he has to make the choice if he sends the CV up north. Plane takes out the AA unit. We only have 4 minutes 30 seconds left, so if Mjblair and blue can't make a push in the south now, or get the zone in the center anytime soon, I believe it's already decided just by the current points. Because he's in a position where he doesn't have to just get a stalemate, but he has to take a lead in the point tick. So he has to capture not just one of these zones, but two. And in only 4 minutes, I'm getting to the point, since the points are still ticking up for red, that he would need probably a third zone captured as well. Until he is out of ammo. But yeah, I think red has the match in firm control now. Infantry unit will probably kill one of the leopards, at least damage it very much. And yeah, destroy it. So what was the problem? I think the airplay of blue from Mjblair was quite effective, but maybe a bit too reckless when the AA network of Autisme on the red side was too strong. On the red side, I think he played it quite well. He took the point lead and then played rather defensively to make sure that he can keep it. I think there was no point in the game where Autisme on the red side was behind in points. So it was a very controlled victory. Maybe Mjblair could have done more with the helicopters that were down here in the south at some point. The two Cobras that got damaged and then was sent forward one by one to get destroyed by an AA piece he knew about. But if that would have made much of an issue, much of a difference, I'm not so sure. Artillery was quite nice. I think it got quite a few kills. And there's a GG, so we can take a look at the scoreboard and check how much kills they actually got. The kill ratio, quite interesting, exactly 1-to-1. So neither player had an obvious advantage in getting more kills than the other side. So if we look at the kill loss, the early AMX-30 anti-air got the drone and two planes, an HE bomber and a cluster bomber. The MG unit, I assume it's one that was in the center, got quite a few kills. Even two helicopters. And then we have a Milan that got a few grizzly kills. AT plane got a leader and a leopard and edits. Well, that was quite a difference maker. MX-30 killing two leopards, javelin, two scouts. No massive hero unit, but still quite interesting, quite effective. The artillery, rocket artillery, killed the CV and two mech rifles. And we have the MX leader that got 3 Leopard C1s, adats and leader. So that's quite an important unit for this battle. And one of the MX-30s got 3 kills towards the end. While, as we can see here from this CF 188 AT plane already, that blue got a lot of his kills from the airplay. It's not massive units, like the VEC 90 scouts. Maybe those were the ones in the north that were a bit annoying in the backfield. But I mean, it's still a lot of kills, a lot of points destroyed by this AT plane. Leopard got a few kills. HE bomber got 4 infantry units and 2 transports. The next one, HE bomber, also got 4 infantry kills. So we can see that there are quite a few destroyed units with the airplay. Artillery got 2 Aspite AA pieces and the GDF 005 AA piece. So the artillery was helping out by destroying the AA pieces, while the planes destroyed important units like the infantry and tanks. Do we have any more? Oh, we have motorized rifles, Erics. That was displayed pretty late, but got a leader, got an AMX-30. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.